At 4:46 p.m., a fireball rises over Tokmak. A logistics hub vanishes in seconds. What if I told you that a single Ukrainian artillery strike didn't just destroy a Russian ammunition depot, but triggered a chain reaction so catastrophic that it changed Moscow's entire logistics strategy overnight? Russian commanders called it impossible. Their air defense crews were considered the best trained in the game. But on one humid evening in August 2024, a handful of Ukrainian gunners proved that sometimes the most dangerous weapon isn't the one that hits hardest, it's the one nobody sees coming. This is the story of how a 15-minute artillery duel became a 30-hour inferno that consumed enough ordnance to fuel an entire offensive. 6 kilometers southwest of Novoprokopivka, open ground, no cover. The Bohdana self-propelled howitzer sits completely exposed. 155mm main gun, 40-kilometer range, 6 rounds per minute, 23 tons of Ukrainian engineering designed for one thing: destruction. The crew commander, call sign Koval, watches the clock. His hands aren't shaking. Not anymore. They did during the briefing when he explained the plan, when his battery commander stared at him like he'd lost his mind. You want to use yourself as bait? Not myself. A ghost. 800 meters away, hidden in a tree line, sits what looks like a Ukrainian firing position. Tarps, camouflage netting, heat sources mimicking running engines. It's completely fake. Built over 3 nights from scrap metal and thermal decoys. The whole setup costs less than a single artillery shell. Koval keys his radio. All stations, Koval. Commencing Phase 1. 2:45 in the afternoon. The Bohdana's gun elevates. Fire control computer locked. Target, an empty field 8 kilometers east. The mission isn't to hit anything, it's to be seen. Fire. The howitzer bucks. The shell screams into the sky. 5 more follow in rapid succession. 6 rounds total. 6 signals broadcasting to every Russian radar system in range. We're here. Come kill us. Koval's gunner, Folk, doesn't look up from his scope. They heard that. They better have. 30 kilometers away, a Russian counter-battery radar picks up the trajectory. Computers calculate backwards. Coordinates flash on a screen. A Russian fire control officer keys his microphone. Msta battery, fire mission, grid 472386. Ukrainian self-propelled gun, high explosive, 6 rounds. The Russian Msta-S battery fires, not at where the Bohdana actually sits, at where doctrine says it should be, in cover, in the tree line, near the dummy position. Koval hears the incoming rounds, distant thunder growing louder. Hold! His crew sits frozen, engine off, systems powered down, silent. The shells impact 800 meters away. The ground shakes. Fire blooms through the fake position. Metal twists. Decoys shred apart. From the Russian perspective, it's a perfect kill. Hold! Koval whispers again. Nobody moves. Sweat drips down Volk's face. Another crew member's leg bounces nervously. 2:55 in the afternoon. A Russian Orlan drone arrives overhead. Its camera pans across the tree line. Smoke. Destroyed equipment. Scattered debris. The footage feeds back to Russian command. Assessment. Threat eliminated. Inside the Bohdana, Koval watches the drone circle. His breathing is steady now, mechanical. Volk's voice is barely audible. He's leaving. The drone banks away. Traffic intercept confirms. Their signals intelligence officer radios. Russians report successful engagement. They think we're dead. Koval finally exhales. Good. Now we kill them. 4:30 in the afternoon. Tokmak logistics hub, 12 kilometers behind Russian lines. Western intelligence estimated 4,000 to 6,000 tons of ammunition stored here. Artillery shells, rocket propellant, anti-aircraft missiles, enough ordnance to fuel an offensive for weeks. Taking it offline wouldn't just hurt Russian operations, it would cripple them. But there's a problem, multiple problems actually. First, Russian Tor, M2 air defense systems protecting the depot. Sophisticated, fast, designed specifically to intercept precision munitions. Second, The moment Ukrainian artillery opens fire, those Tor systems will track the shells mid-flight and shoot them down. The Ukrainians can't defeat the Tor through technology. They have to defeat it through timing. 4:40 in the afternoon, 20 kilometers north of Tokmak, a Ukrainian TB2 drone deliberately exposes itself. No evasion, no stealth, it wants to be seen. The Russian Tor radar locks immediately. Alarm tones sound, the crew scrambles. Launch! 2 missiles streak upward. The TB2 banks hard, engines screaming, drawing every eye, every radar, every second of attention north, away from what's actually coming. 3 Ukrainian Bohdanas, Kovals plus 2 others that crept forward during the deception, fire simultaneously. 18 shells arc into the evening sky. The artillery crews calculated everything to arrive within the same 5-second window. Standard high explosive rounds with delayed fuses, programmed to punch through sheet metal before detonating inside. The shells rise, fall, scream downward. 4:45 in the afternoon. As the Russian Tor crew finishes engaging the drone, the radar operator speaks up. Contact! Multiple inbound, his voice cuts off. The fire control computer cycles through engagement solutions. 18 targets, 3 vectors, simultaneous impacts. It's not designed for this. Nothing is. The crew commander makes a critical decision in half a second. Prioritize the closest threats. He targets 6 shells, 12 get through. 4:46 in the afternoon, the first shell punches through the depot's roof. Delayed fuse activates, penetrates 3 meters down, detonates among pallets of 152mm ammunition. The second shell hits. The third follows. 10 seconds pass. 18 impacts total. Then the world catches fire. The depot doesn't explode, it erupts. 16 shells detonating inside an ammunition storage facility create a cascading chain reaction. Initial blasts ignite propellant charges. Fire spreads to adjacent pallets. Within 90 seconds, secondary explosions rip across the entire complex. A Russian logistics officer, 300 meters away, freezes. His face flickers orange in the glow as the depot collapses into chaos. Get the firefighting teams! Another explosion cuts him off mid-sentence. The sound is so close, it warps the air. Shrapnel whips past, slicing through dirt and armor alike. A soldier drops beside him. Fall back! The order vanishes in the thunder. The world burns white. 4:50 in the afternoon. Koval's Bohdana is already displacing. Engine roaring. Tracks throwing dirt. Ammunition expenditure. 18 rounds. Time on target. Excellent. Displacement time. Under 2 minutes, Folk grins. Think we got it? Koval doesn't answer immediately. He's watching the horizon behind them. A mushroom cloud rises 300 meters into the evening sky. Yeah, he finally says, we got it. Russian military terminology for what happens next. Self-sustaining detonation event. Translation: we can't stop it. We can't approach it. We can only watch it burn. Every 30 to 40 seconds, another explosion erupts. Each one sends shrapnel into adjacent storage areas, starting new fires, triggering new blasts. Russian firefighting teams retreat after secondary explosions wound personnel at 300 meters. 5:15 in the afternoon. The impact of the explosion was so high it registered on seismographs 40 kilometers away. A Russian Tor crew, sitting 2 kilometers from the depot, receives orders: leave or get destroyed. They abandon their position immediately. Ukrainian signals intelligence notes the gap in air defense coverage instantly. 5:30 in the afternoon. Russian command orders complete evacuation within 1 kilometer. There's nothing left to save. 7:45 in the evening. An underground bunker catastrophically fails. The blast creates a crater 8 meters deep, 30 meters across. Initial Russian estimates: the fire will burn for 24 hours. They're wrong. 2:30 in the morning, August 15th. Most of the depot crew has evacuated. A handful of officers remain, watching from a distance, coordinating what little response they can manage. Then fire reaches a stockpile of S-300 missiles. The explosion is visible from 30 kilometers away. A second sun blooming in the darkness. A Ukrainian forward observer, watching through night vision, keys his radio. Confirm massive secondary at Tokmak. Looks like we just deleted their entire air defense stockpile. By dawn, the depot is smoking ruins, twisted metal, scorched earth, 90% of stored ammunition destroyed or unusable. But the real damage isn't what burned, it's what comes next. 2 weeks later, Russian forces across southern Ukraine begin repositioning ammunition storage. Centralized depots are too vulnerable. New doctrine emerges: disperse stockpiles across multiple smaller sites. It solves one problem, it creates a dozen others. Transportation requirements immediately spike. More trucks, more fuel, more personnel. Efficiency collapses. Artillery units that previously received resupply within hours now wait days. Intercepted Russian communications tell the story. Where the hell is our ammunition? Which depot has 152 millimeters? Anyone? Command, we need resupply now. We're down to 40 rounds. Counter battery effectiveness drops 15 to 20% across the entire southern front. And there's something else, something worse. The deception element. Russian artillery crews can never again trust that a successful counter-battery strike actually killed their target. Every engagement carries doubt. Did we hit them? Or are we shooting at ghosts? Paranoia is a weapon too. Koval sits in his Bohdana 2 weeks after Tokmak, cleaning his equipment. His radio crackles. Another fire mission. He checks his ammunition count, loads the gun, calculates the solution. Before firing, he glances at his crew. Volk! Remind me what we proved at Tokmak. Volk grins. That the deadliest weapon isn't always what you fire. It's what you make them believe. The Howitzer bucks. The shell screams into the sky. And somewhere, 12 kilometers away, a Russian radar operator stares at his screen and wonders, is that real or is it another ghost?